Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to get into another frequently asked questions video. So we're going to hit the comment section. We'll grab 3 comments from 3 recent videos and maybe a few bonus ones in there. We'll see. And just see what you guys are curious about. And man, I just want to get it before we get into that though, a little private update. Things are going well with my new son. It's been challenging, as you can imagine, but wonderful. So good. Some really cool memories and some tough ones. And so we're going to get through it. God is good, and my girls are doing great. I'm making so many cool summer memories with my family, taking time off from work, from my in real life work, like outside of YouTube, of course. And yeah, it's great. Things are good. So if you're curious about those things, there's a little update. One more thing, I'm going to be away for almost a week, starting on like in a few days actually. And so I'm going to try and preload some content, but you know, there may be a couple quiet days as a result of some vacation coming up. Going to Green Bay Bible Camp like I did last year. Beautiful place. Anyways, let's get into the comment section. Before I do, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. You can call me 12. I haven't looked at the comment section yet, and so we'll see what we get. I did actually see this. I clicked on the screen and I saw the big caps lock comment from iHorse, and so I thought, you know what, it's time. Let's do a video. I didn't read it. I just saw. I wrote IDK is going on here. But and then I was like, record, let's go. So iHorse, appreciate you, brother. Always the passion, love it. If we stop having passion in the game, that's a problem. While we have passion, there's place for huge opportunity. There's a passionate community of people who are excited to see where this is going and committed to seeing that through. So iHorse, you're part of that. Thank you. Let's see what you have to say. So this is my modern rank grind video where I recently recorded one. Playing a lot on modern these days, guys. I'm getting, just side note, I'm playing like today, let's see, I think I played 10 or 15 games today in modern. Let's see. Okay, so in the last 24 hours, I played 20 games because there's 20 games on the screen, I think. And so look at these, look at the boosts. Like, okay, so this is my win in Gold 3. I'm in Gold League 3. I'm 80 points out of Gold League 2, by the way. But at Gold League 3, when I win a game, I'm getting 5.1 SPS, and I'm getting almost 6 at some of them. Some of the wins, 5.8, 5.9, and that's actually more than what I'm getting in Wild at Champion. And so when I have time to play, I'm gonna keep playing in Modern. Plus, I'm just having fun with it. In Gold League 3, I'm having a hard time. Like look at this: win, loss, win, win, loss, 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 5 loss streak, win, 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 5 win, 2 losses, 1 win. See, it's like pretty much. I'm a little bit better than 500 maybe, but I'm not doing so hot, but I am playing in modern. I'm having fun with it. And I'm going to keep doing that because the rewards are pretty significant. Let's see what iHorse has to say. So what's going on? The GLS market is down. You cannot purchase anything for a week now. Send a message to support. Response for 3 days. No response. I think they abandoned the game. Whoa, for real? They had $0 sales in 24 hours before. The day before, $12. Day before that, $1.40. Not sure how they are buying, but they need to be transparent and put a message up when you log in saying it's broken or they gave up. Just something, and now no support or sales. This is unacceptable. I don't look at GLS at all, and so I hadn't heard about this. Do I even have it hot linked? I don't even know if I have the window linked because I just do not care. Now, it's not that I don't care about your comment. I'm actually excited to see. I'm excited to talk about it. But I don't have it linked. No, come on. I've got to have it linked. There's my tokens. I haven't been here in forever. Claim all rewards. I got $2.29 for the GLGT. And I got a little bit more stake reward there. I mean, this game, this soccer game looked like it. I don't want to be harsh. Because I don't want to be, you know, somebody created it. But I thought since day one, this thing looked terrible. And I did say that before. I've said it since day one, like when it was initially revealed. It was revealed at Splinterfest, I think, right? And at Splinterfest, even then I was like, what? Dude, that looks... I don't think we saw gameplay at Splinterfest, but we saw single pictures of soccer players, which I don't care about at all. And then it was like the bit of the game design was discussed and revealed. And I was like, that sounds so basic. And then later we saw the gameplay and I watched people play it and I thought, whoa, that looks terrible. and it was buggy. I remember that. Again, I never played it, so this is all anecdotal, like, you know, it wasn't my personal experience even. It's like anecdotal, and I watched somebody on a YouTube clip or whatever. So maybe I won't say much more than I was never impressed by this, and I've never bought into it. And that's not to say that if there has been some sort of pull, that that's at all acceptable, and it's not. But I also can't verify that there's been a problem. Like, I just was able to claim my rewards. GLS market. I probably can't say much more than that in terms of being helpful to you. I guess I'll just close by saying it kind of looked like a crappy game to me from day one. And if they did disappear because there was no profit whatsoever, like $12 a buck, you know, I guess that makes sense. They got to pay something for servers. At some point you turn off the servers. But you're right, man. Lack of clarity on stuff like that stings. I've been in stuff like that in the past. Maybe I'll leave it. I'll end the conversation there. iHorse. I've been in stuff that just disappeared before. There's a game I used to play called Drug Wars. It was on the Hive blockchain, and some people were making money with it. I made some money with it. Probably lost more than I made, and these things just end suddenly. And it's like it was like, you know, that seemed more seedy though than GLS. GLS feels like maybe it was a failure, not a corrupt, or like sort of, it was maybe a bad design. And that's me being just honest, not trying to be difficult or harsh. But it doesn't sound like GLS was in any way sort of nefarious, but it does. I wouldn't be surprised if, based on the numbers you're sharing, if it just simply failed. I can't say anything else there. Thank you for the comment though. I'm going to do, this won't really count. But I'm going to say Robert Wagner. I noticed this. So in my Modern Rank grind video, I talked about like the voucher cost per energy was making it free for me to play the game, and it wasn't. I actually had my numbers all wrong, and I realized that after I recorded, like I think maybe like a day later or something like that, and I didn't rewatch. I just thought to myself, my math was off. But I've been busy for a couple of days, and so it is what it is. But thank you for dropping the comment, Robert, and I see that Dahod is in there too. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave it there on that one. That won't really be a comment. Let's go on to a different video. So answering criticism, mobile, and permit pass. So this was my last frequently asked question video, and in it I talked about, among other things, the mobile developments and updates on the game and how they've gotten better. And then somebody, I think, was positive but also felt some criticism toward it, saying it's not enough. And then the permit pass, somebody was very critical about how it's like ruined the economics and they've quit the game because of the permit pass. Let's see what Nick has to say. Nick says, I've been playing for 2.5 years and many times I wanted to quit because the game rules change. Every time I had to adjust to find out it's only for the better. It seems to be more of a child growing up to the future. Yeah, man, it's interesting that you frame it that way. You're saying essentially Splinterlands, sometimes you've been drawn kicking and screaming into the next level of what the game is going to become, or how it's changing, or how it's evolving. And sometimes you haven't liked it, but then you do become a fan of how it's been reworked. I find that that's often the case. At least it is with me personally, or has been with me personally over the years. And so I echo that. But I think it's interesting that you dropped this comment, because I just recorded a video which will be out before you see this video. You're going to see another video where I'm talking about validator node operators and sort of the voucher structure within Splinterlands and the proposals. And it's kind of it's a conversation around the tokenomics within the game. And I said in there, Splinterlands is like in its beta. And I don't know if we often recognize that reality. Like, it's nowhere near what it's supposed to ultimately become. think about items and spells. Items and spells are going to be a major change to what this game looks like, and it hasn't even touched the game yet. Tactics are the closest thing, and tactics is this like scratch the surface kind of comparison to the items and spells that are going to come. That's Land 2.0, and then Land 2.0 creates this sort of development mechanism where you can create items and spells, and there'll be this whole new marketplace and this whole new speculative enterprise within the game, and then this whole new battle mechanic. So the game is so radically different than it once was, and yet it's nowhere near what it's going to ultimately become. And so I like what you said about how, you know, it's changing radically, and it has kept doing so, and it will keep doing so. And you say it seems to be more of a child growing up than like a full-grown adult at this moment. And that is exciting because it is currently fun, and we can imagine that if it was growing into something radically sort of better, the opportunity for new appreciation, new adoption, new sort of investment is possible and maybe significant. So I'm excited personally about that, and from a player standpoint, but also from that investment standpoint. And I appreciate your comment, Nick. Let's grab another one. Lots of good comments on that one. Let's see what you guys had to say about this. I did my comments on Eternal Tofu. What did you guys think? So I'm going to read a few because you got a few comments in here. King says this is weaker than the other legendary summoners. I'm not certain about that. Let's see what Fire has to say. No wonder Matt wants the DAO to pay for our promos. I heard they want Garfield on the next card design. Summoner from I thought it was a prank at first. For me, the artwork is a miss. 3 cats. Wow. You know what though? Supreme Victory Studios, they have done that in the before. We've seen it with Kitty. We've seen it with Panda. That's like one of the flavors of this space. It's like they've got the deadly serious, and they've got this, you know, almost playful, foolish, like silly. And I would probably put Rooney in that side of things. It's kind of ridiculous. Like there's a pickle on one of the guys' heads. Let's carry on. Nikolai says, I sense algorithm will spam only flyers rule set in next period. So you're expecting a lot of flyers in next, and therefore you would think snare would be helpful. Is that what you're saying? I think so. Bananas says all of the newer legendary summers seem like they can be powerful, but only in certain cases. That's good. If you're right about that sentence, then that is awesome. That is good game design. I don't have any of the Rebellion legendary summoners, and I won't be buying any of them. Interesting. I do wonder, and FBI Alex says this card is soft as F. Maybe I'll conclude by saying on that talking point, let's pull up the card value, by the way. Oh, we can't see that one, but we can see the new, what's it called? Draft or whatever. Summoners. So we can't see Tofu's value yet. We can see Vibid, but that's ludicrous. Draft came out today. And I was guaranteed 2 copies of this guy. I got 6. That is bananas and amazing. I haven't had good success on the other ones like Cryptic or whatever else, Lorcus. And so I was pumped to see that because the more I've thought about it, I might like Draft the best of them so far. You know, a cane is awesome. I love a cane. I own a cane, but that's not one of the airdrops. So of the airdrops, of the summoner airdrops, it's so hard to say, man. I don't really care about this one, the one that reduces the retaliate's cool. I would say Cryptic is a pass for me. So just right out the gate, I think Eternal Tofu is definitely better than Cryptic. Now, maybe I'm missing something here. Poison is cool, but I just don't like Cryptic. And I do have a level 2 of Cryptic, I think. Draft to me is like, I'm starting to feel like maybe it's because I got 6 copies, but I do think this card looks good. The flight is interesting, but as that one commenter said, maybe that'll mean there'll be so much flight that snare will become quite powerful, which will mean Tofu is very functional. I don't believe that'll be exactly so though. First of all, there haven't been crazy amount of Rebellion packs sold. Second of all, the number of copies of Draft that will be sort of in circulation aren't going to be crazy as compared to other cards. Like, so the Draft has 41 cards available. What is your supply? We could pull that up, but I don't want to bother. I know it's not going to be a huge supply as compared to some other summoners. And therefore, I don't think you're going to see it, you know, so often. This card isn't crazy OP, and therefore the Tofu, the snare, won't be, you know, necessary every single match. As that one commenter said, they each seem to have their real use case in their moment, and that is good game design. You don't want a card that's always got to be played, but you do want cards that make a lot of sense in certain contexts, and that's where thoughtfulness from the player standpoint and the player agency arise, and that's where satisfying gameplay happens. But I would say that, again, I stand by my comment. I love the art style in the Eternal Tofu. I think it looks really cool. It definitely fits in my mind of what Splinterlands has, the sort of the outskirts of what that art design has included. And so there he is, Eternal Tofu, snare, and the 2 hit points is huge, man. 2 hit points is huge. Like, that's a really big buff. I love that. And that's just your base. I like that base better than some of the other bases. Which ones? I like it better than blind and -1 speed. -1 speed is just whatever. It's not bad, but I don't, you know, there's so many cards now that have -1 speed or +1 speed that it's not hard to get one more minus or plus. So that is irrelevant to me. The blind is helpful big time, but there's so many cards that have blind. So again, I don't feel like that's deeply meaningful. And when you get in the double splinters or the double elements, you have more access to speed manipulation and blind, and therefore that's even less important. Now, flight, Drath, going to Drath for a moment. Flight is actually 25% evasion. Now, snare counters that completely, 100% chance to hit. But again, you're not necessarily going to know I'm going to play Drath. I think you're going to be so situational that I don't know that you're going to be able to predict me every time. Plus, there's not going to be so many Drath card users. Also, there won't be so many Tofu users. Meaning, I think you're going to be able to slip in these opportunities in different contexts and get away with it. And so I think the flight's going to work for Drath. I like that flight +1 speed. It seems way more, not like a little more impactful, way more impactful than this combo, -1 speed and blind. Blind is great, but it's not as good as flight in terms of the percentage differentials. Also, there's so many blinds in the game that you can get from one card, from one monster with one ability. And flight, you can't attach to every monster without a summoner that does so. So Drath is by far better than Cryptic. Cryptic, that's just the base stats, mind you. You got to get into a conversation about these separate abilities, and that could be a 40-minute conversation just between Cryptic and Drath. But I'm starting to create a structure here, and I feel Cryptic is at the bottom of the barrel because I do think there's a lot of poison already. I actually don't know what that ability is, to be honest, and that makes it unfair to me to really properly summarize, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I don't love that melee reduction card ability. I forget what it's called. And Retaliate, while it's awesome, just is a meh summoner. This Cryptic is a real, like, to me, is the loser. Like, for sure the loser. Lorcus, I think I've clearly said Drath is powerful. I didn't even touch on these, but I love the taunt with the being able to apply a taunt somewhere you want is crazy to me. Like, because there's so many cool new monsters that are really powerful, really successful, really resilient, and to be able to bring a taunt to them and then support it with 2 or 3 or 4 resurrects. Now with the red and the green, you might only have maybe 2 resurrects or something like that, but still, I like that a lot. And then of course redemption with the resurrects, right? I like that better than probably True Strike with the, I think that's a speed reduction card if I remember correctly, ability. Yeah, it is, which is interesting. I like Drath a lot compared to Cryptic, but Cryptic is by far, you know, the bottom of the barrel right now. Lorcus, I like the almost global damage increase. Affliction is amazing. Sorry, Affliction and Life Leech are amazing. 2 cards with that on it. I could picture you playing a 2 or 3 card team and really doing a crazy amount of damage and having that Life Leech, which is so wild. Trample, however, is also crazy powerful, and we see, there's context where Trample is a rule set, and so if you have a monster as a Trample, they can really take advantage. And then Fury, too, is a bit of a quiet counter to the taunt that might be happening over here. I love the interplay. I think Cryptic, bottom of the barrel, Lorcus is maybe, next, but it might be Tofu's next. I'm starting to feel like Drath is the number 1 so far. But then again, coming back to Tofu, and we'll finish on this thought. Tofu, I love the base stats. Might be the best Is it better than 1 speed and flight or 1 melee, 1 magic? I think it's like neutral to Drask's basic stats. And Lorcas 1/1. They're so different. I like Eternal Tofu's base stats. I like Lorcas's base stats. I like Drath's base stats. But then the extra abilities down here are crazy. 3 Divine Shields is nuts. Bring in some Resurrects. That's going to go crazy for you. That's going to be so good. Then the Scavenge with the Triage. I don't know if I love this as much. But the Scavenge is super crazy powerful. And so is Triage. You could picture a sneak attack defender who has got last stand and you put scavenge triage on it. It's supporting itself, triaging itself, scavenging and growing stronger. When it gets to the front of the line, last standing in this nutso way. You know, I like Tofu, man. I like Eternal Tofu. I don't know if I like it better than Drath, but I do see very strong, them both as strong. I also feel good about Lorcas, but to me, Krippik is worst. Lorcas is probably second worst, and that's so close. I'm not saying I actually like it as much as maybe Eternal Tofu and Drath, maybe in different contexts, but Lorcas is like probably a little bit less favored in my mind than Drath and Tofu. So in my opinion, Eternal Tofu is not a crappy card. It's not a bad one. It's actually more of a sleeper, and I think you're going to see greater success with this card than maybe people are implying in the comment section. I'd love to see if anybody agrees with me, because it's looked like a lot of people thought bad things about Tofu. But Drath to me is probably number 1, with maybe Tofu, you know, vying for its functionality. Could be number 2. I don't know if I would say Tofu's better, but I think it's good, man. It's strong. +2, plus snare, and the snare is the counter, and also those like I said, those other abilities, that scavenge play with the triage can be nuts. Those shields are crazy. Those are divine shields. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. But like I said earlier, I'm going to be away for a few days, so just thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope you're having an amazing day. And again, as always, if you're enjoying the content, drop the like, drop the comment. Have an amazing day. God bless.